Nigerian equities market is expected to sustain mixed sentiments as investors continue to retain a risk-off stance on the market. Tunde Awolola, the managing director at Parthian Securities, joins me now for a look at the market so far this month. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you for having me on the show today.
Well, let's start with the latest data that the market has been digesting since yesterday. That's the GDP data for the second quarter of this year, 3.19% from 2.98% in Q1 this year. We did see the market go up, and I'm wondering, was that as a result of the data? And how do you see, or do you think companies, the business community in general, is interpreting this data?
Okay, thank you. Well, that data actually brought to the market a cheery news compared to what we have been receiving in the couple of quarters. And it shows that the policy of the government has started taking some traction in it. Yeah, the market also, well, we could say that's reacting to it, but because more to it is that, say, the market has been agog as a result of impressive news in the space of oil, and that is Oando. Oando has been the one leading the pack, and a series of bullish run in the month. And in the last 2 weeks, Oando has been gaining 13% maximum, and that is good. And the reason for that is the acquisition of Ajib that they have been able to do, and the government have signed off. So they have taken off the asset of Ajib, and they have promised that, okay, with Ajib coming on board fully, with the ConocoPhillips they acquired in 2014, then they expect that their output in oil will get to about 1.2 million barrels per day, and that will be very good for them. So we have also seen in the market regarding the recapitalization of banks that is now getting better. We have seen banks like Fidelity, GTB, Access, they have concluded their recapitalization exercise in the market. Zenith is still on, and also FCMB. So these also are positive news in the market, and that's why we are seeing all these things cascading into the way investors are playing in the capital market.
Well, it's quite interesting because, just thinking about the broader economy, obviously, well, in your opinion, investors are looking at those as clues, if you will, that the economy is actually recovering. I mean, good to hear. But let's talk about, for the rest of the year, what is the outlook and the feelings around, within the business community on the reforms and how this is going to translate into actual stronger growth. Like I mentioned earlier, 3.1% from 2.9% to 3.1%, still within, still some growth, but what specific metrics, if you will, macroeconomic indicators will help investors, that investors look at and say, look, okay, yes, the economy is actually turning a corner. We're still, talking about the FX issues, FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods companies still struggling with some of the FX losses. So for investors and the business community as a whole, are there specific clues that they're looking for? Okay. In addition to what you just talked about?
Yes, there are a lot of clues they will look into. Apparently, the season we are in now is the season of harvest. And when you have a harvest, you expect that commodity prices will go a bit lower than what it has been in the first 2 quarters of the year. And also with the government policy of importing essential commodities into the economy, it will help. And for fast-moving companies, our manufacturers, then that means their cost of input will go down. And if it goes down, then their product also will go down. If the price of their products are down, then we are talking about that consumers will be able to buy. So as they're able to buy, we see the economic running well. And this is some of those things we'll see in the market. And as you see this, the investors look into it that, okay, good, these companies are now getting good prices, their top line are good, then they are able to make better profits in it, and they start looking into it. But when you look at the FS issue, the issue is still there, especially for manufacturing industry. The FX are not easy to get. So for many of them that will actually be able to work out through this tight rope, then they have to start looking at backward integration. They have to start looking, okay, how of this my commodities or this essential input that I need for manufacturing, I can actually get in Nigeria. So as many of them that are able to do that, they will be able to navigate better than others that are still waiting for the foreign products in getting their essential commodity out.
Well, let me ask you, because you appear to have a positive outlook for inflation. Talk to us about, your outlook for inflation, where you see inflation ending at the end of the year. The CBN has a 21% target, but from the looks of things, we're in August now going into September. It doesn't appear that that will happen, but we have, begun to see a pullback. But talk to us about your inflation forecast and also exchange rate forecast.
Okay, when we look at inflation, it will be a tough call to get to 21. But we'll get better from the level we are. And reasons are far-fetched that some of these policies are actually taking traction. We are getting used to some of them, and then it will get better as we go to the end of the year. Now, when we talk of FX, there are a lot of factors that are regarding FX issue, but the supply chain is a critical one. But hoping that Dangote refinery starts to produce petroleum products by the petrol will be, they said it will be in the market by first week of September, and by October, the government will be selling petroleum products to Dangote refinery in Naira. Then this will also give a good respite for the FX, and then we might see the FX getting better as we get to the end of the year. All
right, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and, of course, insight on the market with us. We appreciate your time.
So thank you for having me
on the show today. Tunde Awolola, Managing Director of Parthian Securities.